Welcome back to the GDevelop beginner tutorial. In this video we're going to do two things. We're going to reconfigure our player controls so that if you want to use something like WASD then you can, and we are also going to add some sound effects. So the first thing is reconfiguring the controls. By default we have got on our red player, on the behaviors, we've got these default controls here, and the default controls are arrow keys. Up is the up arrow key, space is the space bar. We're actually going to turn this off and click apply. Now I do not think that we should use space as W as the jump key, but I know that some people want to use WASD for movement, and then we can use something like JKL for the other button, so we might have J for jump. So what we're going to do is go over to here, and we're actually going to need to program our buttons, but it kind of makes it a little bit easy in here. So we're going to add some conditions. This condition is going to be red player. No, we're just going to have condition, keyboard, key pressed, and the key pressed is going to be right. Or I'm going to use D. So D. It's going to be right. Key pressed is right. Now I'm going to duplicate this a bunch of times. Can I duplicate it? No, but I can copy it and I can add sub events and just paste it. Add sub event and paste. So there's going to be WASD, and I want one more for jump. Add sub event, paste. So I'm going to change these. That's going to be W key, A key. It's kind of annoying that it doesn't automatically overwrite it. W, this one will be S. And then this one's going to be J. Okay, so we've got WASD and J. So we need to add some actions over here. D is going to be to the right. So what we can do is go red player. We don't need to, if you remember in Scratch, you had to move everything like the X coordinates and stuff. And I think that's really good. You need to know that stuff. But at this stage, you just want to kind of get stuff moving. And the easiest way to do that is to just kind of think about, well, when I push this key, I want to move something. So we want to get those kind of basic programming concepts down. If this happens, then do this. So that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to simulate the right key press. Okay, so when D is pressed, we're going to simulate the right key pressed. And same for this one. When, I think, did I push S? No, this is W. So this is going to be simulate the up key press, which is ladder or up. We'll see what they do. We might have to put ladder on if it doesn't climb a ladder. I don't think I even have a ladder in mine, so you can see what happens on yours. This is going to be the left key press, I think. That was S. That should have been the down key press. Simulate down key press. And A key, this is going to be simulate left key press. And then J should be simulate jump key press. Now, there's going to be a few problems here. Okay, so I can move left and right. W doesn't do anything at the moment. S doesn't do anything. If I push J, it's all good. Okay, so we can simulate the jump key press, and all those checks are already in place to see whether or not we can actually jump. That's what I was thinking we might need to do, is to actually put on like a check here to say if they're on the ground. We could make this a lot more complicated. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add an action here so that when we jump, it plays a sound. So I'm going to add an action here, and we'll look for other actions. Play. Play a sound. That's what it's called, play a sound. Now I'm going to choose the audio file to use here, choose a new audio file. I've actually got these downloaded already, so I'm going to use this number 1 here. I've already actually set it up in here. Doesn't seem to be there, so I guess we'll put it back in. If you get this notice, you definitely want to say yes. You want to make a copy of the file inside your project folder. Now you're going to have to find audio. I can't provide that. I suppose you could just record your own little jump sound, whoop, something like that, and put it in. That would be fine. So this has said jump 12 instead of jump 1, but that's because I already had it. And then I'm just going to click OK. Now what is going to happen here is it's probably going to play the sound a whole lot. So as long as I hold J, it's playing that sound. So that's where we do need an extra condition over here. We only want it to play if the player can jump. So let's go ahead and go red player can jump. If they can jump, we're going to simulate pressing the jump key and play a sound. So it should work now. Arrow keys don't work. Oh, I forgot, I changed it to WASD. I actually prefer the arrow keys and space for this. And if you do, this is still the only way to get the sound working properly. Because there's no way to kind of check this here, what you do if you put this in normally and just say if the red player can jump, and there's no way to kind of check that they're actually jumping, you can say if they push the space key, but it doesn't work because it does all the checks for the default controls before any of this happens. And so it does the default control and then finds, oh, the player can't jump because they're off the ground, and then it doesn't do your conditions. So this is the only way to actually get sound working like this. Okay, so I actually prefer the default keys, which D would be right. So we can still put in these normal ones. W would be up. S would be down, A would be left, and J would be use space. Okay, I actually like these keys for platform games on the computer. They work really well, and they don't get... There we go. Now, I could do a few other sounds as well. So when I collect a gem, let's go ahead and find a sound for collecting a gem right here. Add action, other actions, search, play a sound. I'm going to choose a file for this. I've got this big sound pack here. Coin, that sounds like a good one. I'm just going to pick one of these at random, copy it across, click OK. Let's see what happens. It does play the sound there. There we go. And then I can play an exit sound. Now there's one other thing that some people were asking about, and that was music. So I'm going to add a new event here. I might add a new group actually. And I'll call it controllers or something like that. Game controllers. And that's not like a controller that you plug in, but something in the game that controls something else. So I'm going to add a sub event to this, and we're going to go at the start of the game, at the beginning of the scene. We're going to add an action and other actions, play a music file. Now there's two different things here which I didn't explain. A sound file needs to be a WAV file, and a music file needs to be an MP3 file. I know that I'm going to get asked this question about 1,000 times because I should have said it earlier, but hopefully you may have figured that out. Let's go ahead and we're going to choose a new audio file. The WAV files may actually work, and the MP3s may work the other way around as well, so let's hope so. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to get this free music pack. Let's just pick one of these. Ooh, Dancing with the Lion. Okay, that sounds pretty good. And I'll copy that across, repeat the sound. Yes, I'm going to turn the volume of this down a little bit to like 40, so it's not too loud over the sound, over the top of all the other sound. Hit play. Okay, so I've got my game now with the music. All works. And that sound would just loop forever and ever and ever. Now what you want to be doing is probably go ahead and add something like a title screen. Okay, you should be able to figure out how to make a title screen with a button that starts the game. And add multiple levels to it. Go ahead and add some other levels to your game. The next thing we're going to do is add a timer. So we're going to have a little timer in there, and then we're not going to add lives or anything like that. I think with the idea behind this one, in the next game tutorial, which will be a top-down one, we'll have lives, we'll have a health bar. In this one here, it's just meant to be difficult, kind of like a speed run platform game with some challenging bits thrown in there, Super Meat Boy kind of style. You can make it as complex as you want. You can do some really cool stuff in there with all the things that we've done, and I hope you've enjoyed this so far. So next video we are going to do a timer.